At www.Spreaker.com, create your own radio show and find thousands of exclusive radio channels.
Off the cuff, yeah. Off the cuff, yeah. It's off the cuff, 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 yeah. It's off the cuff, it's off the cuff, it's off the cuff, it's off the cuff, yeah.
This is God ordained, get in position, cause we on a mission, fulfilling this vision, releasing contention, in this God we praise. The one who keeps us from falling, receiving this faultless. Ooh, that man is awesome. You see, it's every day we celebrate. Right now it's time for us to elevate. So get your hands up, cause Hosanna is great. And see, they call it off the cuff because we tailor-made.
Off the cuff, yeah. Off the cuff, yeah.
What's up? Man, we about to set it off up in here, boy.
For real.
Welcome to Off the Cuff, also known as OTC University.
Otaheezy.
Yeah, let me welcome those of you
For
that
the
are
cheesy.
listening to the show for the very first time. Thank those of you who have been hanging out with us each and every week.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
voice you are listening to right now is that of Bobby. And the crew is in the house with me tonight. Say what's up to him, Eric.
What's up, y'all?
And the last what you shall hear shall be the voice of the big.
All I want to do is zoom.
Little Chad saying Zuma, Zoom.
Right back there.
We have a great show for you tonight. Tonight's topic is, can it work? That's the issue. Can it work? Can two people of different religious beliefs make things work out?
Let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
it's going to be hot now.
Yeah, it's gonna be
So if we
Sizzling.
stomp on your toe, just say ouch.
So,
All we know is that sometimes relationships and religions just don't mix. I'm not trying to say we gonna try to blast you if you're doing it. We just want you to go into the situation with your eyes wide open.
Right.
So we're going to explore some of the issues tonight. But before we get into the topic, we're going to talk about some of the tragedies that's been going on this week.
we got to talk about it.
Especially Connecticut.
Absolutely. We have to talk about the shootings in
yeah.
Connecticut. You know, now not just Connecticut,
Yeah.
that was recent, but you know,
Right.
you had the mall in Oregon
Yeah.
recently,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that theater in Colorado, things of that nature. So we
Yeah.
got to talk about that, and then maybe get into some of these gun laws that maybe need to be in place,
Right.
at least to kind of curtail some of this violence that's going on right now.
You know what? I got a question.
What's your question?
My question is,
That's enough.
oh,
Next.
Lord.
No, I'm saying good.
Why does it always seem like to me that it's people of a different persuasion that's always getting involved in these shootings?
I don't know.
I mean, I know that doesn't mean the issue is not
Yeah.
the issue.
Right.
But it just seems like my brothers of another persuasion seem to be the ones in these kind
a
of
little
situations.
bit more out of control.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying that that's the issue.
Right.
Per se, because you know, guns are guns, and
Right.
you know, our persuasion we have a lot of black on black crime.
We have a lot of
go
that.
on. But as far as just these mass killings
Right.
and somebody just snapping and going somewhere and
Right.
like just start blasting people,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, we
I don't tend to
have
see that. You know?
yeah, because we just don't. You don't hear about us doing those things.
Yeah.
And I got to look at demographics as well. Okay, because I'm looking at.
That's what I said. You know,
the demographics like Colorado, the area where they in them
Colorado.
isolated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah, you said
Colorado,
Colorado.
Whatever. And you know those places that, because even the school with the Connecticut thing, the school seemed like it was just on an island almost by itself.
Right,
You know,
out in
where
the
it
rural
was,
area?
out in the rural area.
Very
you know?
small town.
Right.
Small
So it's almost like, out in those particular areas, I don't know what's going on with the young kids out there or the people out there. I don't know if it's something in the water. I don't know what's going on that causes them to sort of snap and want to take everybody out, along with themselves.
Yeah.
When I know us, most of the time we'll just sort of maybe take the party out that we're involved in and just sort of take us out. It's more personal.
Yeah, it is
You're
a
not
little
taking
bit
it
more
out
personal.
on everybody
That's
else
a
who has
great point.
nothing to do with it.
It's more personal, and I've definitely seen
So
that.
what you saying? This mass killings a business?
No, I'm not saying that, but I think
mean,
black, like you mentioned, black on black crime.
Right.
Generally, those are individual oriented crimes.
Sure.
You did something to me, I'm gonna get you back. You know what I mean? Because I feel
And if it's
hurt by
multiple,
it.
it's because somebody got caught in crossfire.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But I don't. But situations like this, when a guy walks into a school,
Yeah.
has no relation with anybody
Right.
with these children. Guy in the theater, you don't know who's in the theater, but you just
right.
go and do something like that in a mall area. Come on, you don't have relationship with those folks. Black folks, I said black folks, we tend to do things, one-on-one. Like, we might if you shoot up my boy and you in a gang, or guess what? I might shoot up your neighborhood. That's kind of like retaliation.
Yeah, you assume come.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's no retaliation in these scenarios. It just seems like
And I think this particular situation in Connecticut is just different from even the other situations because most of the older kids that went and shot up Oregon and Colorado, they were either bullied or they were retaliating.
Yeah.
Not only did they want some attention, but they were trying to get back at either that people that were reminded them of those that had ridiculed them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
This particular situation, these little kids haven't done anything.
Right, exactly.
And I think I in my mind, I'm trying to figure out what was on this guy's mind to go in and shoot up a whole bunch of little 6 and 7 year olds at point blank range with an automatic weapon, with an assault rifle weapon at that. That to me was a little crazy. Even though they say he was very introverted, walking against lockers with his arms with the computer clutch close to his body and things in nature. Okay, so this obviously had a problem. Now we've touched on mental illness in a couple of other shows.
Right.
I think again, this is something that the United States as a whole, they need to have some type of initiative. Start where we can start paying attention to that. And maybe put some things in place in some of these schools and encourage kids to actually go and speak to these counselors and things of that nature. Have some forums where we can get the word out so people don't think it's taboo or my kid's crazy because they're not right. If you see your kids that introverted, you got to start speaking to that and not wait on the tragedy to take place.
That is
agree.
true.
I
That is
agree.
true. And I don't think necessarily gun laws, assault rifle issues, doesn't mean that these situations would not have happened. And what I mean by that is, it didn't have to be with an M16 and
It could have been a revolver.
It could have been a revolver. It could have been a 9mm. So 15 rounds, one in the chamber. Let's go. You see, so it doesn't necessarily mean that gun laws would stop this situation from happening, because it takes me back to the thought of, guns don't kill people, people kill people.
That's right.
So the reality is, gun laws, we can have them, and they need to be stiffer. Because doesn't China have some really stiff gun laws?
Yeah, they have some very stiff gun laws.
But then that is, China is not a democratic.
It's a communist society.
It's a communist society.
Yeah, that's right.
Where they will just shoot you. I mean, the military will kill you. So, you don't hear about these kinds of things happening in other countries because of their dictatorship that they have.
Sure.
But because of our Constitution and our amendment rights and all that, we have these kinds of situations. So I don't know anymore.
And I don't know, and I know the question on a lot of people's mind is, I think these were the mother's guns that was in the house. It was like, I think I saw it was like a 9mm Glock.
Right.
It was 2 of them, and then it was an assault rifle. What she's doing with these guns in the house. I know out in those particular areas, they do a lot of hunting.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not familiar with hunting. I didn't know you need an assault rifle to kill a deer. I thought,
but it's your gun of choice.
Right, it's your gun. Right. So I don't.
It might take a whole lot of bullets to kill that deer if you don't have a deer gun,
Right.
or a very powerful weapon or whatever.
But you know what? And hold that thought for a second.
Okay, I'm gonna hold it.
Because I was in the barbershop the other day,
Right.
and someone said to me, we were talking about buying a gun. And I was talking about, I want to get a nickel-plated 9mm handgun, and I want to go and I want to do some shooting. The other dude in the shop says, you know what, I think I want to give you one of those AK-47s, because I always heard about them on TV. What? Who just heard about an AK-47 and decide that's what I want to get?
That's what I want. Right.
And guess what? He pulled up a website where he could actually order one.
You
know what I mean? So I'm just
but
wondering
again,
about
that's
that.
still your gun of choice.
Right,
You
right,
should be allowed to go if you want to go to it, as long as you are responsible.
Yeah.
I'm okay with someone owning a weapon if you're responsible, but if you have it where kids can access these weapons, if they're going to be in a home, you really should be fined or whatever. Or there should be some type of random checks and balances to make sure that you have a gun cabinet where your stuff is locked up. Not only that, but you need to make sure the safety's on it.
Yeah.
And there are no bullets.
Yeah.
Even near those weapons. Keep the bullets somewhere else, as a matter of fact.
Right
just in case somebody else breaks in. This is just people being irresponsible.
Wow. Right. Because I don't know. They haven't really came out and said there's no proof about the mental state of the young man. So, my question, if the mother knew that he was going through some things, then you should know as a mother that, okay, let me lock these guns up. But they should have been locked up anyway. They should have been secure.
Yeah.
But from what I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but that she actually taught him how to use these guns.
Wow.
Taught him how to
in case you might one day need to protect yourself.
And everything. But if you know your child got some issues, that should be a red flag. If I knew one of my kids had a temper, I'm not trying to, teach her how to use no gun. If I knew she got a temper.
But I mean, I think wasn't he 24 years old? He wasn't a young kid. The dude was 24.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was 15. Yeah, he was 24 years old. So it wasn't a young kid like a 15-year-old. He had issues, man.
Yeah, he had a lot of issues.
Other problems, man. Other problems, bro.
And poor President Obama.
Oh my God, man.
Man, he can't get through a term without having to address the nation on some tragedies like this, But he was tearing up. He was very emotional. Man. You cannot not be emotional with this situation.
You can't.
With these little kids, because especially if you have kids, all you can do is say, man, I can't imagine dropping my 5, 6, 7-year-old off at school.
Yeah.
Right here at the holidays and never seeing them again.
Right.
Now for Christmas, my Christmas is this little, 4-foot-long casket.
For the rest of your life.
For the rest of your life.
Yes.
That's all you know
as
of Christmas.
A memorial.
And you have to, you're going to have to grieve.
Yeah.
And there's anger and things of that nature. But, one thing that I was telling somebody else is, pain is that one thing in life that we have to go through and we don't want to go through it.
Right.
But the healing process really is when we start healing, that's when we get a chance to exhale if we start to accept that healing.
Right.
That's when we get a chance to breathe. That's when we can feel that wind against our face.
Yeah.
That's when it feels like, we're just, eagles soaring and we can actually exhale at that point in time because the only thing they have at this point is their memories of these kids.
Right.
Their life was taken and their life was snuffed out, and but you still have the memories that you have are immortal.
You got to hold on to that.
And you live with those.
Got to hold on to that.
Yeah.
Man,
so I love and our prayers go out to the families.
Yeah.
And I think they got some pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of see some of the pictures of the kids if that's what you want to do. And I think there's some places where you can donate some money. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to get out there and do that this week. So, man, I tell you, my heart goes out still.
Yeah, for real.
And people donate if you can because, most people don't have life insurance for 5 and 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds.
Or 19-year-olds.
Yeah, as far as that goes. So 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
I mean, I went through that situation myself. You have to, nobody's ever really prepared to bury your young.
Right. Young, that's right.
Yes, that's true.
Especially not that young.
All right, so we're gonna definitely we're not gonna bring it to a close, but we're just gonna move on.
We're gonna move on.
How about that? So let's jump back into the topic, man. About can it work? Can it work? When in a relationship, there are many issues that can possibly cause tension. Money, sex are among the top contributing factors to problems within a relationship. However, religion also takes top billing as one of the primary relationship issues that can occur. It is especially true once there are children involved. There are conflicts as to how they should be raised because you have those different religions in the household. There are also moral and ethical choices that are made within a relationship that could be conflicting of both parties and have different views.
Right.
Because religion is such an influential factor in someone's life, many people are less prone to compromise when it comes to religious beliefs. I think people compromise a lot when it comes to religious beliefs, but that's going to be for another day.
Because you're ready to go in on that. We're going to let that
right.
just for a minute.
Well, since I'm there, I might as well step on in there.
No, don't step in there.
Don't step in there. Because I think fundamentally, if you decide to marry somebody outside of your religion or religious beliefs, there is going to be some level of basic compromise.
Right.
Period.
Sure.
You know, so you can expect that to happen. But the children, on the other hand, don't have the luxury of compromise.
But now let me pose this to you. What if one religion, you say you have a Catholic over here,
right? Okay.
And you have a Baptist, okay, on the other side, right. And they both decide, okay, you're this and I'm this, and they both feel very strong about it, but we're going to raise the kids as a Baptist.
Right, okay.
So now the kids don't really have to compromise.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They don't. Until the Catholic decides, I want to be a Catholic. And I want my son to be a Catholic too. And I know we agreed on it, but I don't think it's fair. Right? Then what? Now the child who's going to the Baptist church.
Then they should have said that from the beginning and not said, oh, okay,
but but people change. You see what I mean? Early on when she was 36, 25, 36, I'm willing to compromise.
Right.
And what is she now when you change your mind?
But when she 40 down the road, I might not be willing to compromise. You feel me? You see what I'm saying with
For the
that?
wrong reason.
So I'm just saying, sometimes children are forced into compromising when they're not even of age to make real choices now.
Right.
Because now, all right, I'm done. I compromised for you for 10 years. Now it's time for you to compromise with me. Now the kids are going to be forced into that situation. Right. So they don't really have an option. You know what I mean? And also it always puzzles me, too, is why is it that in relationships where someone has a strong religious background, why is it that they decide that, well, I want my children to find their own path as far as religion goes, and they don't even put their belief on their children? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I understand what you're saying, but as far as people finding their own path, your kids are still going to emulate what they see.
I would think that.
Right.
So even if you say find your own path, if you're living a certain way, or whatever, if I'm the child and I see, okay, well you're reading the Bible, and
right,
you're professing Jesus Christ this
right.
and Jesus Christ that, I'm probably going to end up going in that direction because that's all I've seen.
Right.
Even though you may give me the freedom or the liberty, which I probably won't choose on my own until I'm out of your house anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm going to follow what I've been seeing and what I've been taught.
Yeah.
But then again, if I see you reading the Quran,
right,
then and you're professing Allah,
yes,
then a Master Farad Muhammad,
yes,
then I'm gonna probably follow that as well, at least until I get old enough and start learning, other doctrine. Right. At that point where I can actually make a choice on my own.
Yeah, and I had a friend like that who grew up in Islam, and that's what his father did, and that's how he grew up. I think when he hit about maybe 21 years old is when he switched. He's changed. So I don't know.
So he switched from Islam
to
what?
Christian.
Oh, really?
Became a Christian. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He just, I don't know if it was because sometimes, especially with us brothers, a fine woman had the tendencies of pulling you sometimes into another direction. So,
hello, Eve.
so it could have been, that type of situation. And once he went into a church, a Christian type of church, and started saying, well, this is maybe it's not as bad as they made it sound. Right. This is okay. I think I can do this. And he started seeing the differences in the different religions. Right. He made the choice on his own. I'm gonna go ahead and switch.
That is true.
Now that doesn't mean when you make the choice like that, trust me, where you come from, it's gonna follow you because it wants you back.
Where you come from will follow you. And I can say that because when I was in college and I was raised in a very Christian with a Christian background, and my mom had me at the Word Church, and everything. Everything was scripturally based.
What happened? What happened?
What happened to you?
I'm sorry. What
happened to you, Bobby?
But it was seeming like
don't fool everybody on the air, Bobby. Don't make me call you out, Bobby.
But it seemed like the way you were saying it was like the other shoe was going to drop.
You ain't let me finish though. But you ain't let me finish though.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry.
Eric, give me a taser.
Left it at home.
Leave it at home. 'Cause I know how to get the truth out of this brother right now.
There you go. Let's go back to college.
But when I was in college, I decided at that time, because I was curious about other,
Right.
religions or whatever.
Which is when it happens.
So I started to study the Quran and Islam belief.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the mosque several times, things of that nature, and upon studying, there were things within the Quran and that belief that I found to be very compelling, and that were a good way of life to live, because it was kind of just laid out, bam,
Very clear.
But at the end of the day, the way I was raised ended up bringing me back to, I was like, well, nah, because even right here, okay, I can see this, this deals more with, knowledge of self, but I ain't trying to go to hell.
Right.
I came back around.
Yeah.
Let me do this right here. I got bullets flying over my head right now.
Right.
And I feel a little more confident.
Right.
Knowing where I'm going.
Right.
Shit one of these lanes. Right. So it was kind of that. But I'm okay if somebody decides, I want to get out here and I want to see what's what.
Right.
Just so you can learn. So I don't knock Islam.
Right, I got you.
Because I think as far as knowledge of self, it's good, and they kind of lay things out. Now, and with the Bible, of course, you want to walk like Jesus walked and that type of thing, but you really have to get into the Bible and really get into, the context in each book in order to see how, Jesus walked throughout that process.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Quran, it's like boom, boom, boom,
Do,
boom, boom.
don't, yeah.
Right.
Which is why a lot of times whenever they're in certain communities, you see some of those communities clean up a little bit faster. Or whatever. And unfortunately, we don't see a lot of Christians with the same the same passion to get out there and spread that doctrine.
That is true.
On the same level.
That is true. One of the challenges is the fact, and I think you spoke to it, is Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, all share some of the same values. They're built on some of the same principles.
Right.
So it's really easy to, I guess, associate with each of them.
Right.
And I think, so if you marry a Buddhist, or if you marry a Hindu, or if a Christian marries outside of that Christian faith, there are some things that they're going to be able to hinge that relationship on.
Sure.
And so raising children, I could see where it could work to a degree. But then there are some, like you said, at the end of the day, at the end of your life, where we end up kind of questions.
Right.
Can't compromise on those.
Right.
You see what I mean? So I think that's when the challenge comes in.
Yeah.
As long as it's all kumbaya in the relationship, then we good. But when the rubber begins to hit the road, then it becomes a problem.
Right.
Kumbaya, that's Catholic.
That's Catholic. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Go ahead.
I'll take that.
Check it
Yeah.
out.
Kumbaya.
And that's true what you said. There are some things that will pop up that will sort of hit you, because when it comes to different religions, you have to dig deep. Even being a Christian, there are so many different faiths in being a Christian, but there are other things like being Pentecostal, being Baptist, Church of God, Church of Jesus Christ.
Which is different,
Which is all different.
Yeah.
You all believe in Christ,
right.
but there's still some different things in there that can present a problem in your marriage,
Sure is.
because of their different beliefs. One thing I know that can present a problem is when you look at money, okay? Let's take a look at how money and religious belief can play a serious role in a relationship. For instance, if you or your potential partner have financial issues that will be expected to take precedent at times in a relationship, make sure this is acceptable by both parties, okay? For example, if tithing is a mandatory part of one of the individual's beliefs, and this will affect the finances of the home, make sure to discuss this and that each party accepts how this will impact the income. Because tithing is important, and there are some religions who don't believe that. I don't see this is not necessary, or not even necessary, but don't believe that it should be a 10% thing. Why are you giving 10%? I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, 2% is fine. What are you doing 10% for? You know, and
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
funny you say that because in my household coming up, when my mom and dad were one of the times that they split and got back together.
Okay.
When they got back together one time, my mom was very much into church. We had joined a non-denominational church and everything, and it was just different because it was tongue talking and everything
right.
in the church,
Right.
And we were in what was considered a dead church, Baptist church or whatever, And the sermon every Sunday was, "Will a man rob God? Where will he rob thee?"
Right.
Right.
But my father was very, he was okay at one point whenever she was tithing, but when the bills came, it was like,
Look at here.
oh yeah, that's not happening.
Right.
And that became a issue.
Yes.
That's where some dissension came in
Yeah.
with him and her, and eventually, that separation took place again.
Yeah. Money is a big
Because he
issue.
wasn't really in church
Right.
like that. So, she would come in and, everything was pastor this and pastor that. And he was, yeah, well, you going back over there to pastor such and such.
Right.
It was, but I know most of my foundation, my spiritual foundation came from when I was in the church, because we had to learn scripture and everything, we were in church 4-5 days a
Bible
week.
study.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. I think that's really true, man. When you start talking about money, and sometimes when you talk about tithing, that number can be interesting.
Yeah.
Because if we only make $100 and we talking 10%, then I'm good with 10. But when that money gets
Speak
right,
it.
when that money gets right,
Yeah.
then it becomes a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
And so then people, heaven and hell for some folks
Yeah.
is in the balance for
Right.
some people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They really feel like that.
It's true.
And so then, they gonna do this in spite of how their relationship at home is.
Yeah.
And then when the bills ain't getting paid, guess what? The first thing they gonna go to? That person that didn't want to tithe is gonna go straight to what?
Right.
That tithe. And the person that want to tithe, both could be in churches together. One could be a Baptist and the other a Pentecostal. And Baptist folk, they didn't have the same level of fervency toward tithing.
That tray come by for $1, $5,
Right, $2,
Yeah.
right.
You
And
know.
the tray gonna only come once.
right.
But you go to some Pentecostal churches, you might have 6 passes.
See, I have a problem with that.
Well,
I'm sorry, I do. I had a problem with
But that's
5, 6 collections at church.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
a problem
I
when
understand.
I walk into the church and
I
I see
understand.
3 ATM machines
right,
in the
Yeah.
line.
right.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
And
I
There you
do.
go.
I'm sorry.
You-
I understand. I'm with you.
I agree with it.
You agree with ATMs in the?
No, I ain't saying that. That fires me up. I think that's downright trifling. Okay, I don't. You can't put a spin on it. Don't tell me I got 5,000 members in our church and we just need an ATM, and there don't need to be no ATM machine in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to different religions or different,
Right.
I'm so sorry, different sects of churches.
Yeah.
Okay, Pentecostal. Some Pentecostals believe in one
Right.
offering, but you have large
Mm-hmm.
Pentecostal churches. Whenever the mindset changes to a money mindset and financial thing, then they start taking up hundreds of offerings
Sure.
a day, and they do not just give your offering, but it's like
A building fund,
you
a
need,
radio
yeah,
fund.
right. It's like taxes
TV
almost.
fund,
When it
right.
becomes, if I feel like I'm paying taxes, I don't need to be.
Then
there,
you got to
okay?
have first fruit offering.
Yeah.
First stuff like
fruit
first
offering.
fruit.
And don't
offering.
have a guest speaker.
No,
Oh no.
don't do that.
We gotta bless the speaker.
We have to bless
Y'all
it.
bless them real good.
And I'm so sick of dig deep.
Dig deep. Yeah, dig
Okay,
deep.
what does that mean? Dig
Yeah,
deep.
dig deep.
My pockets can only
Dig
go
deep.
so far. Okay.
I remember when my pastor used to say things like, the Bible says, "Let every man give as he has purpose in his heart." So why you sending me to the ATM machine?
Hello?
Because if I would have purposed in my heart to give
Hello?
it, I would have got it before I got here.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the convenience of having one there.
At the Wawa,
It,
at First Bank of
Yeah.
America.
it can be a convenience, but I just think if your church centers around money, if it's been known to center around money, and then you wind up putting the ATM there, it's almost like you're telling the people,
I mean, that's
hey,
what
I
about.
really want you to get this
That's what it's
money out.
about.
That's my thing. Is just
I
don't
just don't
focus
want.
on.
I'm like, there's one church that comes to mind. I just saw 3 ATMs right in the lobby as soon as you walked in. I had an issue. One was right at the door, to the main aisle,
The
to
usher
the
right next to the ATM.
to the sanctuary. I was like,
welcome to Spirit of ATM.
Yeah.
How are you?
Right.
Here's our ATM for you.
stupid. I ain't say that. You stupid.
All I said was Spirit of the ATM.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
But check this out. That's another point. Yeah.
Or it could have been First Baptist ATM. It didn't matter.
Right.
This
Dang, things is getting dangerous up in this piece. Religion is dangerous.
that's
Hot. The gospel can be dangerous.
It can cost you.
check this out. If the man's religious belief is for him to handle the finances because he is the head of the house,
Right.
but he's horrible at it.
Gotta get it.
You know, how will that work in a relationship?
Gotta switch it up.
You gotta switch
Yeah,
it
you
up.
gotta switch it up.
Because you
Whoever can't handle the money don't need to handle the money.
don't need to
That's
do
right.
it.
That's
So I don't care about, you feel like your manhood is being snatched because you can't handle the money.
Yeah.
Your manhood's going to be snatched when y'all out on the street trying to find a shelter to stay in.
We'll work for food.
Because you're not doing right. Because you're not handling the
You're
finances
gonna be
right.
stretched, all right.
Give them over to that woman.
Yeah,
Forget
yeah.
that pride.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, let's talk about that. Worship and study time.
Okay.
That's important as well.
Yes.
If there are particular periods of time that must be devoted to religious study, worship, or volunteering, make sure that it is discussed and accepted.
Oh,
with the
yeah.
Spirit.
Right. You got that?
Because you got to go on Sunday, and you got to go on Tuesday, and you got to go to YPWW on Thursday. You got to go to choir rehearsal on Friday,
Right.
and junior choir rehearsal on Saturday. So that's a whole lot of time.
That's a whole lot of time, and I'm thinking that for me personally,
That's a lot of time.
if we're trying to run this household,
Yes.
you're not gonna be gone 4 or 5 days a week
Right.
at the church,
Right.
going to church function.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry.
Right.
You got to
Right.
pick and choose.
Right.
If it's 5 days, pick 2.
Pick two. Pick two good.
And we'll work from there.
Yeah.
And everything else you're gonna catch. What you want to say, Eric?
No, what I'm saying is this. That's true. I don't like that because I feel like a church should be sensitive to the needs of families. You can't, and you should know that if your center is around family, the family will never be to grow with them being out in church 5 days a week. Stop being scared that people are not going to be saved if they don't come to church 5 days a week.
Well, your family ends up growing around the church.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
not just
I
that, but
know what you're
that's
saying.
not one. That's not on the church. That's on
that
y'all
person.
running that household.
Well, it is when you run the household, but churches should be sensitive to that too.
You don't have to go.
but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna
And
tell you what.
nobody's telling you to
Right,
go
but
5 days a week.
I'm
Eric.
gonna tell you what churches do. And this is what I've experienced. If you don't come out to those services,
You feel
you're
guilty.
deemed to be not faithful.
That's true.
That's what you're deemed, and so you're made to feel guilty about it.
true.
So at that
Well,
point,
then you need to raise up out that church.
Well, that's
need
why
to
you need
raise
to
up.
talk about it.
That's
You
right.
y'all
That's
need
why
to
somebody
discuss
needs
it.
to talk about
You got to
it, so.
raise up out that church. There's this comedian, this cat of another persuasion.
Yeah, I know.
Named
yeah.
Gary Owens. He's a pretty funny cat. He does some Christian comedy. Married to a sister.
Sister.
That kind of
Strong.
thing. Yeah,
Strong sister.
And he has this one set where he's describing the differences in their churches. And one of the things he was bringing up was how whenever he go to his church, they're in and out.
Right,
But
right.
you go to a black church, you might go in at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're not getting out to 2 or 3.
Right.
And it's funny because the church that I spoke of earlier when I was young, we got up. We were at Sunday school by 7:30, 8 o'clock. We never got out before 2, 3 o'clock.
Right.
Want me to tell you why? Because he didn't start preaching until about 12:31. That's the first thing.
Right.
And about 2 o'clock,
Oh yeah.
the spirit was in the church.
Right.
That's just what was going on.
And you can't cut that
Hey,
off.
you can't cut. It stopped when the spirit
Right.
stopped. We're not cutting off the Holy Spirit
Right.
up in here.
Right.
So for the fellas that was like, I wasn't, I was young,
Yeah.
so obviously I wasn't going home watching,
Right.
football and all of that other stuff.
Right,
Plus,
right.
it wasn't as prevalent on TV at the time. But right now,
Yeah, that's
you
a
like,
challenge.
woo.
That's a challenge. Redskins playing.
Yeah,
The spirit need to shut off by
It's
now.
a little different
Look
in
at
some of
Look
the
at here, look at
churches
here.
right now because the pastor even get up there and like, all right, I know y'all want to see the game.
Right.
There's some blocks at the back of the church.
Right.
We see when it's 12:45. Let's shut it down.
Let's shut it down.
You sitting there
Let's
talking
shut
about,
it
Lord,
down.
don't let the spirit move. I wish she would stop shouting. Stop.
Right,
It's
right.
not that deep. The game is coming on.
The game is on.
Yeah.
They don't have no anointing when RG3 is running. It just ain't the same.
And depending on the church you're in, RG3 might be running around the church. Because I've been in some of them where somebody just take off running. Like, she done,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it wasn't praise and worship time.
Right.
You just take off running in the middle of service because you want to be seen right now. I also know that it says do everything decently and in order.
Right.
Sit your butt down.
Sit down, please.
What is you doing?
Please sit down. Please sit down. All right. So, and you're so right, because worship and those are real issues. And raising children is still another issue.
Yeah.
Check out the story from a woman who is a Catholic and married to a man who is a Buddhist. Wow, what a mix, right?
Ring
And she says, I'm a Catholic and my husband is a Buddhist. When we decided to get married, we agreed the kids would be raised Catholic. As we got married in the church, he was not very religious at the time. Now he's very religious, very active in Buddhism activities. Remember I told you earlier?
Yeah.
It started off one way, but he switched it up on her. He teaches Buddhism to the kids behind my back. Oh yeah, that's how you're gonna have to do it.
What? Cut.
And my eldest daughter, 9 years old, is very close to me. When I brought up the subject and he said people change. That's good, right? Referred to this decision regarding raising his kids as Catholic in the beginning. It makes me upset when he can't respect the decision we made a long time ago. I have 3 daughters, 9, 5, and 4. Currently, every Sunday I take kids to my church since 9 years ago. He used to accompany me and the kids, but not recently. There are a lot of things to consider when you have kids and 2 religions are involved. Some good questions to ask are, will you be attending church alone? Will you expect me to go to your church? Will our children be baptized or have a bar mitzvah? Right? Will we educate our kids in both religions, or will we just let them decide? A lot of questions, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of hiccups that you may not be prepared for those answers,
buddy.
man.
Yeah, buddy.
Because you start off one way, and that brother might be saying, I sacrificed for you for 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And let my Buddhism
Right.
kind of go down.
Right.
But as you get older, you get a little bit more sensitive and a little bit more culturally aware and all that stuff. And you come down to, you can have some health issues that make you more aware of your life issues. And then now he decides, I want to raise my children as Buddhists.
Got older and he got deeper into it.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you feeling like I'm right and she's wrong.
Right. All the kids, they doing the rosary. They sitting at the table repeating prayers.
Right.
And then you got this Buddhist prayer you like.
Rain gate no show.
Yeah. So let's go with that. You know what I mean? But but yours don't get no love.
Right.
because
You get
we done
mad.
decided already that we gonna do this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
So
you feeling-
it can definitely be an issue, man.
Oh, it's a major issue and very important to talk about. That can bring a lot of havoc in your home because, as we said, as the 2 parents get older and the kids begin to get older, you get stronger in what you believe.
Yeah.
And it's not as simple as telling the kids who are like 9 and 10 years old make a decision. You can't do that.
Right.
They got to go with somebody to church.
Right.
And it's going to be a pool, because there's pride on both parts. I want them raised this way.
Right.
You want them raised that way. That's a horrible place. That's why this is such a decision that you have to look at before you get married.
Yeah, you gotta look at it.
gotta look at it because you can.
The dude is wrong though. If he's doing that behind her back,
Oh yeah, he's wrong. He's wrong
he's
for that.
wrong for that.
Yeah, he's wrong for doing it behind her.
I
Don't
would've
be a
told her
coward
straight up.
about it.
I'd have told her straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have had a discussion before he ever even went there and said, I know that you raised them this way, but I do still want them to know or understand this belief.
But remember I told you he was in love earlier. Earlier in the game, he was in Google for Cocoa Pops.
Well, 60 pounds ago.
Yeah, right.
That was a good point, Chad. it would have been easy for him just to say, I just want them to be aware and understand why I believe what I believe.
Yeah. Right.
You know, just let them know and let them make the choice as they get older. But, you know, don't try to like go behind her back. And that division, the kids see that division.
Right.
So that's causing havoc in the home because they're like, you know what, they ain't
And a house divided cannot stand.
That's right.
I want to hear Moses say it. How would you say it coming off the mouth?
And the house divided shall not stand.
Y'all heard it from him.
Voice of
Black
Moses.
Moses.
All right, Barry, hit the holidays for us.
Holidays. All right, we're into the holiday season right now.
Yeah.
There's some homes that will not, and I quote, not be putting up a Christmas tree due to religious beliefs. Now, I know somebody talking about, what are you talking about? Now, I know a lot of people who talk about this
I ain't
Christmas.
putting up a Christmas tree because I ain't got the money. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about you throw the tree up. It's got to be gifts.
Now, a lot
Celebrate Kwanzaa this
of
year.
people,
That's right.
Handmade gifts.
Kwanzaa.
And understand the season.
You right.
The reason
You
for
right.
the season.
And
Too commercialized.
A lot of people, yeah, that's true. That's what burns me up about it. A lot of people don't believe in the Christmas tree thing. And some of people look in the scriptures in the Old Testament, in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, and verse 3, it says, "For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver, with gold. They fasten it with nails, with hammers, that it move not." And it talks about them worshiping the Christmas tree, worshiping the tree, not Christmas tree, but worshiping the tree. Exactly. And this is where they pull this scripture out of, and it relates us to the Christmas tree. So when the Christmas tree was introduced, why Christmas is really considered, of course, a paganistic holiday. You know, because of the origin where Christmas actually came. Right. You know,
thank you for that scripture, Bishop Tutu. We appreciate you bringing up.
Just flipped around, but it's very important in the home when you talk about this, because some people do not put a Christmas tree up in the house, and I know a couple who never put a Christmas tree up, because the man believes that I don't want no Christmas trees. Right. The wife wanted it.
Yes.
But it becomes hard because the kids, you see everybody else's tree up.
Yeah.
Mrs. Johnson got a tree.
Right.
You know, down the street they got a tree. Why can't they have a tree? Yeah. Well, it's in the Bible. Right. But then this could be dangerous because now it's going to turn the kids away. I'm sick of the Bible. I'm sick of all these rules. We can't have this. Right. Everything ain't wrong. You know, it begins to become a problem, right? So it's very difficult for the child adjusting to this, you know, like when they talk to their friends, you know, and all the gifts that they receive for Christmas, and you know, and then your child come home and he's talking about, you know, why we can't celebrate Christmas, why I'm not getting any gifts, like you know, Jehovah's Witnesses,
they don't get any. Yeah.
No holidays. They don't celebrate no birthdays.
Yeah.
There's no Christmas things like that.
And they really need to celebrate everything, because, you know, I'm about 144,000 of them going to heaven. Anyway. So they better get their gifts and blessings right here while they on earth.
They better get it in.
Because they need to celebrate everything. They need to make up some holidays.
Yeah, because out of the 3 million of them that there is, only 144,000.
144,000 gonna make it in. Now, and the 3 million that's already dead,
right.
You know, where you ain't got a spot. You know,
I tell you, it's interesting, and you know, I'm glad you brought that up, Eric, because I was one of those persons that I grew up with a Christmas tree, and was strong into dragging that 8-foot pine in my house, you know, every November, you know, and I was big about that. But I was one of the persons that decided that I'm not putting up a Christmas tree anymore. Okay. And my wife was like, "What? No Christmas tree? You can't have Christmas without a Christmas tree." You feel me? And I was like, "What?" You know, and so it was like kind of tug of war. But I decided at that point, is this worth the battle? Right? So I said, all right, you can have a tree. So we put up so I kept dragging that tree in for years. But over the years, I kept teaching her about how pagan the tree was. So over time, she started to melt a little bit. Now, did I force it on her? No, I didn't force it on her because I didn't want problems. You see what I mean?
Right.
And I had little kids, too, so, who was looking forward to putting the little ornament on the tree and the little candy cane on the tree, and there was all these boxes out, and I'm up in there mad because I don't care nothing about this Christmas tree. But I did it for my kids' sake, right? So as time went on, kids got a little bit older. Then I started explaining to them the origin of the Christmas tree. Because they couldn't get it when they was little. You know what I mean? Because they're like, I don't care. And then I explained to them about the whole gifts issue. Why gift giving got melded into Christmas. And that goes back to gifts to Jesus, frankincense and myrrh, and all that. So I saw, and it was like, oh, so the Christmas tree is not really a part of Christmas, but the gifts are? I said, exactly. Let's focus on the gift versus the tree. Because at least the gifts are biblical. The tree's not. So my kids at 19 and 15 now, they ain't thinking about no tree. They all in the gifts part now. You see what I mean? So on Christmas, they take gifts to folks' houses. They don't give them to them ahead of time. We do it on Christmas Eve. You know what I mean? So it's part of the process for them. But I didn't let it become a problem early in my marriage because I was like, no, this ain't a major issue.
It's not.
It's not a major issue. It's not a deal breaker.
It's
not a deal breaker.
It's not a deal breaker.
So if America's listening, don't let this Christmas tree issue be a deal breaker for you. Because if they want to bring, every black person I know got that little white Christmas tree with the little red balls and the green balls that they put together. They screw in, and it look all crazy. You got to bend it back, and all that. We all grew up with that tree.
We have an aluminum tree. You put the lights on it, and the lights reflected off the aluminum.
Wow!
And you can sit and look up at the ceiling, and it looked like a strobe light up in that piece because it was blinking off and on. I thought it was awesome. I was like, Lord,
this is beautiful.
This is something.
Aluminum dog.
I'm telling you, this is old school. It was made out of aluminum. It was the leaves.
Yeah, I understand. I've seen that tree.
Were like little aluminum.
Yeah, I've seen that tree. I've seen that tree.
Just like the white tree, but aluminum.
I've seen that tree. He from Cleveland. Don't try that like that.
Oh, no,
don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Just because y'all had a twig, Charlie Brown tree.
Charlie Brown tree.
Our junk was plastic like I don't know what. Okay.
Yeah.
The lights was melting our tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have little white bulbs though?
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah, every black person has the white
Straight
bulbs.
plastic.
And then you have the little lights that don't work.
Yeah.
Like they don't, some blink, some don't.
Some don't. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But
then you got to go through and find the right
one.
The replacement light. If we replace this one, all of them will blink.
That's amazing, man.
But then when when I learned about where Christmas really came about, over in England, and how it actually started as some type of party where they got drunk and all this type of stuff. The very, very origin of it and how it actually got to United States and how they started with the advertising thing with Santa Claus. They brought Santa Claus
into it
and all that type of stuff.
Which is German, actually.
Right. So I understand it now, but I love the spirit.
Bobby.
I love the spirit of giving.
Y'all educated.
That's what I love. I love the spirit of giving around Christmas. So that's why I celebrate. Of course, Christ. I look at that. Right.
Yeah, I understand. We got you.
Now, another issue that we got to touch on.
Do we have to talk about this one?
We have to talk about this.
All
right, let's go.
The sexual beliefs.
All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about sex,
baby.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Come on now. Now, Catholics actually believe it's okay to be a homosexual priest.
Right.
But don't address the issue of priests being pedophiles.
Right.
Now that's an issue right there.
Yeah.
I got an issue with that. Now, according to Jewish law, the husband and the wife have to actually be separated during menstruation.
I
believe they call that nidas or something like that.
Right.
They have to actually be separated. During menstruation.
Right.
That's kind of wild too.
Wow.
Islamic tradition calls for a woman to actually be a virgin when she marries. I think it's called
you got to move out of America
Singay or something like that in Islam, in the Islamic tradition, which is like temporary or it's just only a requirement you know, it's a period of the relationship where, you know, both parties actually have to agree to
a dowry.
Yeah, agree to it. Usually that woman gets a dowry, or her parents get that dowry, or something like that, which is the case in a lot of cultures. You know, even in historically in the African heritage culture.
That is true.
It's kind of like buying a car. Only this car can give birth. It still works out, but it can last anywhere from 5 minutes to 99 years.
Right.
Now I don't know who's gonna wait that long. That sounds real crazy to me.
Wow.
Often it isn't even registered with the government or with the church.
Wow.
According to what's the lady's name, Elaine Cicilline. This thing usually legally wraps premarital sex in an Islamic cloak.
Okay.
Ancient paganists, and you were speaking of pagan beliefs earlier,
Right.
Ancient paganist groups in the Middle East often conduct mass sex ceremonies in order to increase their productivity.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm trying to go to the Middle East. The most successful members of the group would lead the enormous display of mutual masturbation, and every individual would try and reach a climax at the same time as the most productive leader.
God, what?
This group orgasm was
Ancient.
It's ancient, Eric.
Not
Relax
today,
yourself.
Eric.
Oh, no, I'm saying today.
Ancient.
I'm
Not happening
I
anymore,
didn't say
Eric.
this was happening back then. I'm not trying to get air.
All right, okay. You just you're getting a little excited. All right.
Can you imagine if you outside that town and everybody's reaching a climax at the same time? What you gonna hear coming in? That's gonna be kind of crazy. Just a big loud yelp,
crazy, man.
going out, you know. But the group orgasm was then, you know, meant to elicit, you know, a favorable response from the fertility gods above, and set the stage for good farming during the growing season.
All right.
They farming already. Everybody planting seeds.
You want some good
That's what planting seed,
Get you some good
watering
crops.
seed.
Okay.
I just like to watch.
That's the and people don't understand. Even when it comes to sex in religion, is very important in the church. Because I know churches that actually teach people in reference to sex certain positions that you can do, and you can only do these particular positions in sex. You cannot do anything else but this particular way. If you do anything else, it is basically an abomination and not acceptable, you know, in marriage.
Right.
You know,
Do you know how fast I believe a church is trying to tell me what positions I could make love to my wife in?
You know, but that's what they do. You know?
understand.
I know some
We're gonna
churches.
decide that.
I know some churches who do that. To me, the Bible says that the bed is undefiled, meaning that, you know, that's you and your spouse in the bed. You know, you're doing, you know, it's your responsibility to please each other. You know, you never go into a marriage and let your religious beliefs stop you from doing certain things, because you will kill your marriage. You will kill it real quick, because if you're not pleasing that man or you're not pleasing that woman, then they start to drift. That's the bottom line. So sometime to me, religion can sort of be controlling sometime and have a stronghold on individuals too much to where it control what's going on in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And I think at a point you got to cut that off right there. You know, but.
Well said, Eric. I was going to tell you.
Bobby was real quiet on this one.
I was going to tell you, don't stick your foot in it. You know, but I think well said. Let's move on to family values. Family values. Both your family and your partner's family may have problems accepting your relationship. Your partner may choose to keep your existence as a secret from them. It doesn't feel nice to be someone's secret, but you have to try to be understanding. Here's an example. A gentleman by the name of Ali shares his story about his situation with his girlfriend. Listen to how religion played a part in his relationship with his family. 21-year-old Ali, a Muslim, had a 3-year relationship with a Catholic girl. He chose to keep the relationship secret from his family. Girlfriends aren't allowed in Islam, he explains. My family would be ashamed, and my dad would probably disown me if he knew I had a girlfriend. keeping the relationship secret was an emotional drain and made his girlfriend feel uncomfortable. But I didn't feel like I had a choice, said Ali. According to relationship advisor Matt from Ask the Site, I guess it's .com, this kind of problem isn't uncommon. The main problem people face when getting into relationships with someone of different religions is a negative reaction from family and friends. He says, so what can you do? The most important factors are respect and understanding for your family and your partner. You know, because you're going in, you got to know that this is it. Let them know. You know, but that's a tough one, man, because I believe what you were saying earlier about Islam and Muslim belief system, going into that really takes a life commitment. Unlike other maybe necessarily religions, I think that's one of the hardest ones to adapt to just come out of Christianity and become a Muslim. I don't think it's just that easy because there's coverings, there's where you walk, there's a lot of things that you got to do, washing, you know, and things of that nature that are unique. And I think it would be a challenge, especially if you have the situation like Ali, who has a girlfriend who's, you know, he's bound to his religion, but not as much as daddy in them. You know what I mean? Not as much as daddy in them. And then Pops come in, Pops about to blow up. Like, you know, you don't wear these pink panties, do you? You're like, oh, yes, I do from time to time.
I mean, they just have those that, that are Muslim and worship Islam, they have a more of a conviction, more of a devout belief system as far as what they do. So it is more of a sacrifice.
It is.
For them. I mean, I think most religions, Christianity, you have to sacrifice some things if you really are trying to practice. That, you got to give up a lot of secular, things. But for the most part, sometimes, we it's a little more flaccid. You can, kind of.
But here's my question: can you help who you fall in love with?
No, you cannot.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you fall in love with that person.
You cut them off right at the beginning, you know.
I mean, can you help it? Because what happens if you in love with a person and you haven't had that deep conversation yet? Because that's usually not the first thing you say. How you doing? You saved or not? No, it's usually not the first conversation. But let's say
I need to know if you believe what I believe, how we believe.
What church you go to. Usually that's not the first conversation. Usually sometimes that conversation may be a month or two down the road. By that time, you could be deeply.
You could be emotionally involved.
You could be locked by then. Especially if you had some slip-ups. Y'all know
what kind of slip-ups you talking about there, Bob?
I'm just talking about some slip-ups.
What kind of slip-ups?
I'm falling and I can't get up.
What you falling?
I'm just saying. So if you have some slip-ups along that way in your effort to be so-called Christ-like, you could be in love or in a whole lot of like by the time we get to that third month. You know what I mean? So then how you going to deal? I mean, it's difficult. Then now it becomes, okay, now let's have this conversation about your belief system.
And it's really almost too late.
It's not too late. You just have to decide for yourself at that point in time, is it a deal breaker for you?
But now your flesh is involved.
Yeah, it's hard.
See, it's not emotional. I mean, it is emotional.
Your flesh is involved, but if you're looking at it from the perspective, well, okay, I got to think about the rest of my life. But it's different if you're younger. You might not have that conviction where you can make that choice for yourself. But I think once you're older and you've been through some things, you're like, can I deal with this or can I not deal with this?
Well, 21-year-old, and they got that good. Now
they ain't going nowhere.
Right. And then, you Baptist, and you didn't know that they were Muslim growing up. You didn't know that.
Right.
So now you're thinking, am I willing to compromise? All right, and then you go in and you say, okay, let's do that. But the fundamental thing is somebody's compromising.
And this is the hard part of it is when you're a Christian, okay? If you're a Christian and you even think about going to Muslim faith, okay? If you're a Christian, the church is going to the church is going to ridicule you, first of all, and your family is going to ridicule you.
Yeah,
They're going
that's
to talk
true.
about you.
Yeah.
If you're a Muslim thinking about crossing, it's bigger than that because they're talking about cutting your inheritance. You're not getting no money.
You're
You're nothing
don't
to me
call
anymore.
us.
Don't call us. You're cut off from us. So I think the Muslim person is looking at all of that too.
Right.
This is more than just you talking about me.
Yeah.
You know.
And then it comes down to even with all situations, it comes down to the heaven or hell issue too. I mean, even when you start talking about Catholics to Pentecostals,
right.
I mean, we're not talking about outside of Christianity here. We're talking about folks that name the same Jesus.
You right.
And once we get down to heaven or hell conversations, you know, I've run into Christians that proclaim to be Christians that don't believe in hell.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, what? How you just not believe in hell? I don't understand that. But then they believe in God. They believe in Jesus. They believe all in heaven.
Right.
But they believe that this is the hell that you're living in right now.
Right.
You know, that's some interesting. So you got to have not only some surface conversations.
Right.
You need to have some deep conversations.
Right.
About where we're taking this relationship. Because the scripture talks about two cannot walk together except they be in agreement.
So Amos 3:3.
I mean, it's right there. It's most folks know Amos 3:3, but most people don't read. I mean, they're here when it says 2 Corinthians 6, when it says, "Be not unequally yoked together with unbelievers."
Right.
You right? No, have no fellowship with righteous and unrighteous. I mean, come on, people don't read that because I love him. I love them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change them.
Right. You can't do it.
See, the one of the biggest lies Satan has ever sold to Christians in relationships is that you are going to change that other person.
Can't do it.
Because you can't help nobody come to a saving knowledge of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Right.
You can't push it on them.
Right.
You can't make them feel it because a person has to find themselves lost first before they can get saved.
Right.
You don't know you lost till you get in that, jump in that 12 feet of water and you realize at that moment, I can't swim. You need somebody to come and get me.
Right.
Now guess what? If they dog pedal to the edge, guess what? They didn't think they was gonna drown. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
At first they might feel that sense of, oh, I can't swim. And then they, all the way to the edge, guess what? They'll jump in again. Guess why? It don't scare them now. So you couldn't teach that person that. So I think in relationships, you can't help a person get lost so they can get saved.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just foolish thinking. But Satan has tricked us to believe that you could do that. Like, I'll work on it. I'll work on it. You're not going to be able to work on it.
Do it. You got a mailbox question?
Mailbox question. Chad, can you read that one?
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is from Anonymous.
Everybody's anonymous.
Everybody's anonymous.
Why don't they get a last
Quit
name?
being scared to say what you got.
You don't have to have your first name.
I'm really not a person who is into sports, nor am I interested in learning. But the man I'm in a relationship with is really into watching sports. Do you see this as being a serious issue if we get married?
No. Don't see it as a real serious issue unless the time that is set aside for watching sports is so important to you that you can't breathe. Mm-hmm. But if that time is just his time, then let it be his time.
Right.
Now, I tell you how to get him out of his time is you have to be a good alternative to his time.
And get creative.
Yes, and there's a way to be a good alternative.
Can you
a distraction, if you will.
A distraction, if you will.
Can you break it down a little bit?
To his time. You know what I mean?
No.
And in the holiday season, it will be a good opportunity and behoove you to run by Victoria's Secret.
Oh, okay.
There you go. And then become a distraction for him during his time. And
or you can run by the Foot Locker or somewhere, buy a jersey, and just parade across in front of the TV in just that jersey and some pumps. I'm gonna tell you something to do right there.
That's called a distraction.
You know, with a sandwich.
Yeah.
For him. Baby, I got something for you right here. It's a sandwich. You know, and when he look over, you know, you can hook your jersey up however you want it.
Right.
I promise you, he'll stop watching that television.
Yes. Yes.
I think you just have to put it there.
Unless you look like Rasputia or something.
You have to put things in perspective. And if you look like Rasputia because he likes Rasputia, it's still.
If he likes Rasputia,
yeah,
there you go.
Brother, because I've seen some people that like Rasputia.
Yeah, well.
And I shake my head like he really likes Rasputia. But guess what? He likes Rasputia.
Rasputia, big sexy boy, big sexy.
Big sexy. So there's a way around it, Miss Anonymous.
Miss Anonymous.
Yeah, Miss Anonymous. Let's do the contest, man. Let's go.
Contest. All right, check it out. This contest, for you to participate in the contest, you must be a follower of the show. Go to www.spreaker.com.
Spreaker.
Sign up with your email address. Type in off the cuff in the search box, and then click on the follow button. That will make you a part of the OTC family. We will be choosing a winner every week, and all the weekly winners will be put into a drawing to win the monthly prize, which is a $50 Visa gift card. Now, if we call your name as one of the weekly winners, you have 1 week from the day we call your name to respond and become eligible for the monthly drawing.
I'll write it down for you.
If we do not hear from you within 1 week of your name is called, you forfeit your eligibility to win the $50 Visa gift card, but you will still qualify.
Are you still reading?
For the grand prize. Yes, I am.
We need
Thank
to
you,
shorten that
Bobby.
thing.
We will be choosing the monthly winners for the $50 Visa gift card every first Sunday of the month through December 30th, 2012. But hold on 1 second.
There's even
got some change in here.
There's even more to this contest. And Lil Chad's going to come tell you about the grand prize. Take it away, Lil Chad.
I'm going to cut this kind of short.
Yeah.
We got Visa card gift winners every month. And in order to be put into the drawing, you have to be a guest host on the show. Because y'all know how we roll. And we keep things off the cuff. Make sure you call in, register, go on www.menoffthecuff.com or shoot us an email at menoffthecuff@yahoo.com. We got the grand prize winner is going to be chosen January 6th of 2013. That's coming real soon.
That's right before the national championship game.
Make sure you register so you can be a part of what we do.
That's right.
You know what? I'm not going to be here for the national championship game. I'm sorry. Let's go.
I got to agree with you. We're going to have to work out something.
We got to work it out. I forgot all about that. Yes, sir. And today's winner of this contest is
Boom Shakalaka.
The Reverend Dr. Isaac L. Luck.
Is that Luck? That's Luke.
Or is it Luke? Well, it could be Luke or Luck.
Yeah, it could be Luke or Luck. L-U-K.
Is it Luck or Luke? Well, how about you
let us
know?
Luke with 2 live crew done got ordained and trying to come on the show.
So Reverend Dr. Isaac L. Luke
Reverend
or
Dr. Deacon.
Reverend Dr. Sup.
Yeah. Hit us up where?
On www.menoffthecuff.com and hit the contact us ribbon to claim your spot, or you can email us at menoffthecuff@yahoo.com. We'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and get registered so you can potentially be a host on the show and come have a good time with us and chop it up.
Yeah, man, that was good, man. That was good stuff. Good stuff. I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight as much as we did. So let's get out of here, fellas. See you back here next week.
Same place, same time,
y'all.
We
keep it real.
Yeah.
God loves you. We out.
We out.
Fast enough for you?
Yeah, that was fast enough. I appreciate it.
I'm trying not to pause.
Yeah, you did pause. You did pause. I'm proud.
Cause we on a mission, fulfilling this vision, releasing contention in this God we praise. The one who keeps us from falling, receiving this faultless. Who that man is awesome. You see, it's every day we celebrate. Right now it's time for us to elevate. So get your hands up, cause Hosanna's great. And see, they call it off the cuff because we tailor-made.
Off the cuff, yeah.